Here's my second video in the T-Mobile series. I'm going to be doing 3 videos total, possibly more depending on how long this goes on. But I have an update as to what happened to our service after it got switched over. And I want to talk about another customer service experience we had with them and where this is headed next. So you're going to want to stick around for this. The first thing I want to do is address the people who have made comments. I've had several people say the technology doesn't work that way. They lied to you. I work in the industry. Now, I can't verify that. And I'm not knocking what you're saying. I just can't verify that. I don't work in the cellular industry. I don't know how the technology works. Here's what I do know. We did call down there. We did have an issue. Our phones did not work. The apps wouldn't work. Calling wouldn't work. And we called down there, they switched the towers from what they told us, and magically we have better service. Now, I could tell you, we've turned our phones off many times prior to that, and we would still get the same crappy service. But after this was done, hey, our phones have been working great. We can go out, we can go in stores, use apps, we can use them when we're driving out, use apps and stuff. Whereas before, we couldn't do that. Now, the one issue we are still having is with the phone calls. The phone calls still, when we're at home, have been dropping. And I'll mention more about that at the end and where I'm going to head with this whole saga next. But as far as them switching it over, I don't see any other logical explanation than what they actually told us on the phone. Because we were definitely had to have been connected to a crappy tower. And I know they automatically connect to the closest tower, but for some reason, they told us they could override them. And it seems like that's what they did. So they've got us on another tower, and that tower seems to work 10 times better than the one we had. So I can't vouch for what people are saying in the comments, but what I can vouch for is that there was a major change when they did what they did with our phones. We've had them reset before. We've had our phones turned off. Nothing ever worked. So, hey, they got it fixed in that regard. Okay. Our service is not perfect though. And like I said, I'll mention that at the end. But first, I want to talk about a customer service experience we had. Now, I told you guys in the last video that our service had been switched on us a year prior without our knowledge and without our okay. So they switched it back, which they had to reset our data plan too to put us on our old plan. Well, that was supposed to happen about the 6th or 7th of this month. And then right after that, like the day it happened, my daughter calls me and says, I have no cellular signal. It says my data plan does not work. Our phone is not compatible with the current data plan. She asked if I was having that issue, and I said, no, my phone's fine. And her and I have the same phone. We have the Google Pixel 3 XL. No one else in the family has that. I think 3 of my kids have iPhones, and then my wife has a different Samsung phone. So later that day, my phone did the same thing. I couldn't use any apps or anything. It said my data plan does not work with, my phone does not work with the current data plan like it did for my daughter. So I said, all right, first, I told her before she came over, go see customer service. This was before I started having issues. They put in a new SIM card. They got her all set and said she should be good to go. So she came over to our house. Now, at this point, she didn't know I was having issues too. When she comes over, she says, now my phone's not doing anything. I can't make calls. I can't receive calls. I can't do anything. And I can't use any of my apps. And I said, well, mine is doing the same thing. So let's call customer service. So we called customer service. And they said, yeah, it looks like when they switched you over to the new plan, which just happened earlier today, back to your old plan, that they didn't reset the data so that your data doesn't match what, your guys' phone. So only your 2 phones were affected. We'll get it switched and fixed here. So turn your phones off for 10 minutes, turn them back on, and you'll be on the new data plan. So we did that. And then my phone worked fine, but my daughter's wouldn't work at all. She still had issues. And they said it could take up to a couple of hours for it to kick in. Well, it never did for her. So she went back down to the store. Store was completely useless. They couldn't do anything. So they said, go back home, call customer service. So she called customer service again. Come to find out, they didn't activate her new SIM card earlier that day when she went into the store. So they had to activate it over the phone. Here's what I've learned about T-Mobile. Their in-store service is freaking terrible. They can't do anything. Unless you're there to buy a phone and start up service, they're useless. They're not going to help you. Their customer service, on the other hand, I got to tell you, some of the friendliest customer service I've ever dealt with. They're nice on the phone. They're very friendly. They're very helpful, which does help. It's amazing. We would not be with them at this point had we not had the kind of customer service we've received. I do have to call them back, though, because our phones do keep dropping. This is the last part of this video. Our phones keep dropping. My wife and I, we can't seem to make phone calls. And no matter what we do when we walk around in our house, if we move a few feet, the calls will just drop. They'll turn off entirely and we'll lose the whole signal, which is crazy because we can still use apps and we can go outside the house and we have data, but the cellular signal itself has got issues. So it seems like their data's okay, but the phone, whatever their phone is running off of, that's not working properly at all. So I'm going to have to call again and find out what they can do to fix this, because if we can't get this fixed, we're going to have to go to another carrier. They are not taking care of customers out here in Surprise, Arizona. There are way too many people out here, and this goes beyond cellular service. I can tell you that just in Surprise alone, we don't have enough shopping. There's nothing for people to do out here. All we have are banks, dentist office, and storage units everywhere. But we don't have the things that we need out in Surprise. And one of those things is the cellular service. We just don't have the service that we need. They don't have enough towers up. They've got to fix that. So once I call them, I will do another video on the resolution on that, and we'll see what they're able to do for us. But just to recap, something happened. They obviously did something last time we called. All I can tell everybody in these videos is what actually happened, what we were told, the result, and where we're at now. People coming in, it's not helpful to say you work in the industry. That's not how it works, because I can't speak to that. I can't verify it. All I know is what they told us and the result. And we did get results. So take it as you will. But I will be doing a third video in this series. And, we're going to have to make a decision on whether we're going to have to change, carriers or not, because this is not helpful when we can't use our phones to actually make phone calls. We've had so many important calls recently and they keep dropping, and it's quite embarrassing. And we shouldn't have to go through that. If we're paying for the service, we should actually have service. So I'm glad that we can go into the store and we can use apps and we can get online, we can check emails. But man, the actual cell service itself, they got to fix it, and they got to fix it fast. So I'll let you guys know. I'll do another video when that happens. I do appreciate everybody who's watched so far. If you haven't, hit that like button, hit the notification bell, and subscribe first, then hit the notification bell, and you will be notified when new videos go up. I do appreciate everyone who's listened and watched so far, and I do appreciate the comments as well. So look for that next video shortly.